introduction. No Jets Chaos Will Never Die song. Jets Chaos Will Never, Never Die. Nothing like that. Just a check-in. Just a check-in. It's been a while. Look, nothing is going on. It is not the football season. I decided to take, for the most part, the same break that the Talkin' Jets channel has taken. But I figure I would check in because I haven't responded at all to OTAs or training camp or anything like that. And I haven't been able to get online with Matt O'Leary. We'll be coming back in mid-July at the start of training camp. So don't worry about that on the Talkin' Jets channel. We'll also, if you go to the site, we'll be promoting and giving all the information and links. It might even be up now on Talkin' Jets. If you want to attend the opener with us, I am officially going to be there. I'm going to be at the opener against Pittsburgh on September 7th. And there's a beach kind of thing, like some kind of festival, beach thing before that on Saturday. So it's like an entire like weekend that you can make out of it. There's Ryan got the whole thing set up. It's all going to be really cool. What's going on, Yeti? My niece is here, Leah. Zachary Berner's here. What's going on, guys? So great weekend. We're going to get to see Aaron Rodgers at MetLife one more time. If you didn't get enough of him, we're going to get him again. And last year, he did not deliver for us when we got to see him live. We'll see if he delivers for us this year by losing and stinking. It's going to be really cool to see Justin Fields' first game. I think that you should all be there with us. I think that's exciting. Whether you're a fan of his or not, whether you think he's the answer or not, you got to admit it's kind of exciting to watch a player like that live, right? Like the first time he takes off and he's running, you don't think Green Bean's going to lose his mind? Like, can you imagine if Justin Fields just takes off and explodes for a 40-yard run, what Green Bean's going to be doing? I mean, he doesn't like to get up off his seat very often, but I think that would get him up off his seat. I do. Yeti, you're saying, am I the only non-Jewish person watching? You might be. No, I think Matthew Smith is here, and there's no way he is definitely a goyim. So don't worry, you're not the only goy here. Cam Ward was supposed to be an answer. You know, the beautiful news, Matt, the greatest thing in the world is I know you're a huge Cam Ward fan. And he's definitely having a very good camp from what I hear. So you might look very smart. If he's a good quarterback, like just good, then we shouldn't have traded our whole life to get him. Right? To have been worth trading up for and just killing this roster, he has to be a really, really good quarterback. Like, would have signed him the next, to a second contract quarterback. Like, we could agree on that, right? To be worth trading for. So we're going to know. We're going to find out. He's in Tennessee. I'm tired of people making excuses for quarterbacks, guys. If they don't work out, it's not the team. Great quarterbacks are great quarterbacks. They find a way, okay? The guy from Houston proved that, right? Deshaun Watson couldn't do anything, or he could when he was good. And he made that crappy team good. He left. They were back to crappy. Then they get this good quarterback that they have now, Stroud or whatever, and now they're good again, right? I mean, it's like it doesn't matter. The coaches would have to go out of their way to make you bad for you to suddenly not be a good quarterback if you really are the guy, right? Or you'd see evidence of it. So the Jets didn't kill Zach Wilson, and so far, nobody did Justin Fields wrong. He's 25, so there might be hope that he could be good. I'm not saying that. But we got to stop blaming. Okay? Great quarterbacks are great quarterbacks. When Peyton Manning went to Indianapolis, they were terrible. He made them great. It took some time. They were 1-15 his first year. They had to build around them. But they did. Because that's what you could do with a great quarterback. Okay? It's just the reality. A great quarterback is a great quarterback. So I'm tired of the excuses. If Justin Fields isn't good, you're going to keep making excuses for him? If he's not the answer, we're not making excuses. It's not, he went to Chicago and Pittsburgh never gave him a chance and the Jets are never going to go. How many different coaches do you need? How many different systems do you need? Whatever Justin Fields is for us is what he is. If he develops and he takes the next step at 25, And with the new technology in his helmet of helping him, and they're going to be able to see what he saw, there's a whole new technology they're using to help improve the way he reads the defense and help the way he processes. If all that works and he's the answer, that's fantastic. That's great. If he's not, then he's not. And it's not the coaching. We've got to stop that. So it's the same thing with Cam Ward. Matthew, if he's the answer, then he's the answer for them. And it will show in the way he plays. If he's not, then he's not. And we will not know this year. If he struggles this year, I will not give you a hard time. He is a rookie. And rookie quarterbacks, for the most of my life and most of the life of the NFL, were not expected to even play. They weren't. So we should not judge them. Yet he says that his take on Fields is none. I don't have one. He was the best option available. It is what it is. Got to ride it out and see. I agree with that. No, I'm reading your take. I think that it's true. I think that we don't know for sure. We can't know for sure because Geno Smith was, and I mean, we let him go. He was a backup and for the Giants. He got a couple of starts. He was nothing. No one thought anything of him. And then, boom, for some reason it clicked for him, right? Some quarterbacks, it clicks right away. Baker Mayfield's not a good example, by the way. Baker Mayfield was good from the start. He was stuck in Cleveland, right? I mean, he was in a terrible situation. Then, and I know, that's an excuse, but he showed he was good. He got them to the playoffs. That's how good he was. That he got that ridiculous organization to the playoffs, right? With all these other quarterbacks and the big Deshaun Watson signing, they only made the playoffs once without him, and they were one and gone, and that was with Flacco, even though they had the number one defense in the NFL or one of the top defenses, and they couldn't do it because they've never had the quarterback. Then Baker goes to the Rams, shows some promise with good coaching, goes to Tampa Bay, good offensive coordinator who ends up getting a head coaching job, and he went back to who he was in Cleveland, the guy that brought them to the playoffs. He's a good quarterback. So he's not the surprise. Geno Smith was the surprise, right? There's been other guys, too, that later in their career, Jim Plunkett is a famous one, right? Looked like a disappointment and then came on at the end, near the end of his career, won a Super Bowl with the Raiders. There are quarterbacks who don't necessarily pick up on things instantly, and it takes time. And Justin Fields has had 4 different offenses, so he's had no time with a consistent offense. This seems to be maybe one of the first that really specifically is designed for strengths. He says that they always have been, but I don't think they have in just the sense of, I don't think he's ever had an offensive line, to be honest. Right? In Chicago and Pittsburgh, you never had an offensive line, and I think the relevancy of that is for the running game. What if we give him a great running game with our 3 running backs and a great offensive line? What if we can establish an identity as a running team and really force teams to defend against that and deal with a really high-powered, like the Ravens? I'm not saying Lamar Jackson's not great. If you don't think it helps him that the Ravens are like one of the best running teams, you also see that in Philly. Not saying that Hurts is not a good quarterback, but if you don't think it helps him that he has a great offensive line and a great running team, then you don't know ball. I mean, you're just not understanding ball. Even Matthew Smith, who disagrees with me a lot, could agree with that. Those quarterbacks are really helped by a great running game. So I'm not saying, or I'm not getting overexcited about Justin Fields. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but I'm curious to see what he's going to be if we can establish an identity as a really good running team. And by the way, I hate throwing out examples like Geno Smith because you have to understand he's the outlier. Hundreds of quarterbacks weren't good there for a few years, and then they were never good, right? So what we're holding on to is not a prediction. I'm not predicting Justin Fields is going to suddenly be a good quarterback. The odds are he's not. But I'm also a football fan who understands that anything is possible because we've seen evidence of anything is possible, who's hoping Justin Fields is good. The reality is we're probably drafting a quarterback in 2026, and rightfully so. That's the most likely scenario. Now, this beautiful dream could happen, this outlier thing, this magical thing, where suddenly at 25, he figures it out, he's running all over the field, he's making great passes, he's more consistent, he's processing, he's going through reads. I mean, it's happened. So I mean, so as a football fan, I wish it did happen. That would be a beautiful thing for us to just magically strike gold like that. It's never happened in our history that I could think of. It never happens for us. So I don't know why we would think it would happen. But if it did, it did. Otherwise, get ready, buckle your seatbelts. We're drafting a quarterback in 2026, and there's going to be a bunch of them. And me and Tigo will probably fight over everyone. I don't know. We might not. But, that's what it is. I say Tigo because I see Tigo. What's going on? What's going on? What's up, Tigo? Those of you who are watching me, I haven't been alive for a while, so I probably am getting no algorithm help. So I appreciate you hitting the watch and the view button and joining us, because there's not going to be many of you. How much stock do you put in the Jets coaching staff for being impressed in Fields? I don't really worry about that as a negative, Zachary, because I've never heard a coaching staff ever in history not support their quarterback and say positive things. We had Tomlin, you had Tomlin at Pittsburgh, great, very well respected coach by most. I know there are people that don't believe. I think everybody could agree, well respected coach, right? Solid head coach, long running, managed to have a winning record every season practically since he started, right? So we could all agree, good coach. If you look, he said good things about that kid Stennett or Bennett or whatever the hell he is, who's in Cleveland now. Like, everyone's going to say good things about their quarterback, right? They're not going to, they went out, like somebody just said here, they went out and they got the best available bridge quarterback, right? With a hope, a little bit of an upside, a dream that since he's only 25, maybe he's the answer. But we all know, even based on the contract, it'll tell you, we all know that the whole signing of Justin Fields was bridge quarterback, maybe this slight little chance he hits and he's the right guy. I think that if we're being reasonable, that's the expectation. So, of course, they're going to say good things about him, right? So that we're impressed with him. But remember, this organization, they didn't give him a 5-year deal. They didn't do anything crazy and say he's the guy. They gave him, if you look at his contract, we could draft a guy in 26. Fields could, we could even get out of that contract technically if we wanted to. It's not even that painful. I don't think we would. I think he would still be the bridge quarterback, even if we had a rookie, and even if that rookie played. I think that you'd still keep Justin Fields. But his contract is so short-term and so not long-term. We're not handcuffed to him. And just that contract shows you they weren't overly impressed, right? They didn't run out and say, we have to have Justin Fields 5 years. We're convinced he's the guy. They saw the best available opportunity, and they gave him the contract they needed to give him to get him to sign with us. Right? That's what you saw. So I'm not concerned that they're impressed with Justin Fields. I think we have no idea what they're thinking. They might already be thinking, oh boy, this is temporary. They might already be thinking that, but there's no way they would ever, ever say it. They would never, ever, ever say it. Right? Because how would you do that? You'd be blowing. It's like firing your head coach after Game 4. That would be that would be what you're doing, right? You're already destroying your season if you do that, right? And if he was really bad, which he's not, I think any of the media, if you watch, Connor Hughes does us no favors, but if you watch his reaction, he's not blowing up Justin Fields. He's saying what we all think, and what we've been hearing, what the coaches are saying. He's been watching the practices. He says the same thing. And I think even Rich Cimini was very negative. Dick Cimini has been saying the same thing. He's been saying he needs to be more consistent, that he does some extraordinary things, but he needs to be more consistent. And I think that's the mark of Justin Fields as a passing quarterback his whole career. Like, if you watch, there were moments where he did some really nice things, but not consistently, right? That's the issue. So I would expect the coaching staff in practices, in shorts, to see things that are impressive. He's a phenomenal athlete. I have a good feeling about this coaching staff. I'm not going to sit here and declare anything. I'm not sitting here and saying we got a great coach, this is the guy. And I'm not going to say, oh my God, I think that we really blew it and I hate this guy, like we have in the past with certain guys. I have a good feeling about Aaron Glenn. I like him. I like his no nonsense. I think that we all agreed that we wanted that, right? I think if we all agreed on one thing, whoever our choice was of who we wanted the coach to be, I think we agreed we wanted somebody who's going to rip and tear people's assholes apart, Like, I think that we agreed on that. We wanted it somebody who doesn't take bullshit. Um, I don't know that he's going to be that 100% yet. It has to be proven. But he certainly seems to know how to handle the media. Um, so that to me means something. That goes somewhere for me. I like the way he handles the media, and I'm not saying I didn't like the way Salah did. Someone said, "Hey, Jeremy, didn't you like the way Salah did?" I liked the way Salah handled the media because it was compared to what? It was compared to Adam Gase, and that was the first year. So we went from a really embarrassing head coach to a head coach that wasn't embarrassing. Now, like everybody else, I got very frustrated with Robert Saleh as the years went on because he started to look weak. And then it started to become annoying, right? Aaron Glenn, the difference with him is he's not catering to the media. He doesn't care if they like him. He doesn't care if they write bad things about him. That's what I like. He clearly doesn't care, right? And I like that. So does that mean he's a great coach? Does that mean we're going to win on the field? I'm not saying that. It's unproven. We don't know. I can just only say I hope whoever our successful and future coach is, if it's him, if it's not him, that's the kind of coach I like. He gives me but Parcells vibes. He gives me Peyton vibes. He gives me like those kind of vibes. He's like a non-bullshit kind of coach. And I like that. So we'll see. I mean, it was hard to watch Salah those last 2 years. The way his shoulders would droop, the way he'd stand there next to Woody and next to Joe Douglas, you remember that end of season press conference? Hard to watch, really hard to watch. Yeah. Have you been dead for? I haven't been dead, man. I haven't been live because I've been busy. Just so you all know, I graduated. I got my license. What like activation number or whatever, because I don't have my full license to be for therapy. To be a psychotherapist, you have to get 3,000 hours. You have to pass some big state exam and everything like that. But I get to work for a company as long as I have a supervisor, as I earn those hours. So I am now starting a new job. So I've been really busy graduating, and I've been busy starting a new job, learning how I got to learn their systems, you know how it is, their tech, their app, notes taking. You got to do a lot of notes, and it's very technical. It has to be because insurance can audit your notes, so you get in a lot of trouble if you don't do it right. So I have to, it's really hard when you're building up new clientele, because I'll give you a little thing if you're ever interested in therapists and the life of a therapist. When you have clients, it gets very easy for your current clients. You meet with them and you do what's called a progress note. That's really easy because a lot of the stuff that you've already done in your treatment plan diagnosis and all your previous meetings is carried into those notes. And all you're doing is adding that session. Oh, he came in a good mood, bad mood. The client came in stressed. The client did this. The client did that. Came in, presented himself well, looked he appeared well, doesn't have suicide ideology or anything like that, says that there's no risk of anything like that. And so you just write a little bit about that. And then you write what you did. Oh, I used this modality. I used psychoeducation. I used mindfulness. And I spoke to him, and the client left feeling good. And we have a plan that next week we're going to focus more on this or that. And that's all you do. And it's easy. And when you have a full caseload, every once in a while, a client leaves, you get a new client. And then you have to go back to that initial phase, which is a little harder. The intake and diagnosing and all that stuff. Well, I'm at the hardest part of this new job because every client's new, so every one of them is an intake. So I'm writing treatment plans and intake. So once I get all my clients in and I'm doing meetings and I don't have any new intakes as much, then I have more time and things will be a little bit better. Sounds like I'm describing Zach Wilson. Billy, let's see if you're a Fields guy. We're paying Fields high-end backup money, $20 million a year. Yeah, I agree with that. Any top 10 quarterback in the NFL is going to cost you between 40 and I agree with that 100%. That gives the Jets $30 to $40 million to players. Yeah, I mean, Billy, I agree with everything you just said. You know what that means. If you want McLaurin, then you go out and buy him with money you saved on quarterback position. The problem with that is that we're not saving money because of the Aaron Rodgers. Right? We're still taking a hit on that. What's nice is we're taking a hit on that this year only. So I think that what you said comes really into play next year, because next year we're looking at no Aaron Rodgers money because we took the hit all this year. I think we took it this year. I think we took it post June. We broke it up, so it's not a lot. If it is next year, I don't think it's that much of a hit. I think we're taking a lot of it this year. We might be taking 35 million of it next year, though. We might. I think that might be true, but we're not paying Justin that much. So when you think about feel like if we are taking a $35 million hit and we're paying Justin, 20 million, if we keep him and we're paying him 20 million, now all of a sudden it's 55 million. So yeah, it kind of sucks. We're paying for a top quarterback, but we have this young rookie that's in his rookie year anyway. And then after that, we're free and clear, right? We're out of the Fields deal. We're out of the Rodgers money. And now we have this young quarterback who we're paying what? Depending on when we pick him, somewhere around 10 million a year. So all of a sudden, quarterback becomes this very inexpensive position. But what's nice about, I think that, yes, it's good that we're not paying Fields too much money, so we have money to extend Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner in spite of the Aaron Rodgers hit. Like, we have that money. We can manipulate those two contracts to be as, however we're going to do it. So I think, I think I seeing something you're writing and I'm laughing. It's really funny. I think that they're being very good money. I think they're managing the money well so far. We'll see how they manage the Sauce and Garrett Wilson extension. I think that they have some money so they can take some of the hit up front. They don't got to drop it all to the end of the contract. I think they'll make it very soft for next year, for 26, so it doesn't mix in too badly with the Aaron Rodgers $35 million hit. So I think they'll make however they structure the contract, it'll be a low hit next year. And then I think it'll stagger for those years, Garrett and Sauce's contracts long term, about how they hit us, so we don't get hit by both of them too badly in any one given year. And I'm sure there'll be some dead money at the end. So in like 2030, 2031, we're going to have some bad dead money, but there's going to be a lot of raises in the cap space by then and all those things, so we don't really have to think about that too much. That's how I kind of see all of that going down. Jeremy, you are the official Jets fan therapist. Some people would argue in the opposite. I'm the official Jet fan needs therapist. Post your number when the Jets go 5-11, or your schedule is going to be full. I can only practice in California. I got to eventually get my license for New Jersey and advertise myself. I swear to God I will do it. I swear to God, when I get my license to practice New York, New Jersey, after a few years when I get licensed here and I'm able to do that, I swear to you, I will get licensed and I will market myself in that area, because you can control what you say as you market yourself. I will market myself as a therapy for Jet fans. I'll say, are you overly stressed because of the New York Jets? Are they damaging your life? And I'll say, therapy. I'll have my number. I totally will. Thousands of Jet fans on the run. Maybe I'll do like a group therapy. I'll do a YouTube channel. I'll change this channel to Therapy with Chaos. Therapy with Jets Chaos. And I'll describe it as the New York Jets therapeutic site. And I will sit here and answer questions, and we'll just have group therapy. And that's what I'll call it. It's a really good idea. I don't have to change the name of the channel, right? I could just call the show Therapy. I'm going to do it. Jets Therapy. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a weekly show during the season and everything. I'm going to do a weekly show, Jets Therapy. And that's going to be the theme of it. It's going to be like, I'm going to go through breathing techniques. I'll have guests come on and say how they're coping. I'll give coping skills. It's like, I'm laughing, but it's real. We need it. I mean, you tell me how much does it impact your life? Well, I don't know about you, but I'm sick on Mondays and Tuesdays. Like, sick. I feel bad. I don't feel happy. It sucks the joy out of me. I feel anxious before the games. By Friday, I'm anxious. I'm like waiting for them to damage me again. I really think that I'm onto something here. If all serious now, in all seriousness, so when does sports does bad, do you actually feel depressed? and it's the lasting depression until the next opening day. People really have a lot invested in their teams. Yeah, and I think that if they truly are depressed, then therapy is needed, being all serious. And the therapy is not to stop liking the team. Obviously, it's like I wouldn't try to break them of the team, but it is trying. It is when it gets to that level, and I think this is true for all of us. When it gets to the level that if it really truly is bringing in depression, like real depression, affecting our sleep, our appetite, our ability to feel joy, like if it gets to that point, then there needs to be a pullback. There needs to be an adjustment. That is unhealthy. And what it means is, if you say, well, why would that happen? And I'm probably doing some self transparency here because I've admitted that it does impact me that way, that we are fulfilling some needs with our Jets fandom, that it is filling some emotional needs for us when it gets to the level that we get that broken up about it. That means that we need something else. We need to focus in on what that unmet need is, that emotional need, and we need to fill it a different way. Because you don't want your emotional needs to be dependent on something that's not guaranteed and consistent, right? You want to put the things that bring you joy into things that are in your control. But when you put it into something like a football team, you have no control of that. So what do you do when things go bad? Then you don't feel right. That void's not being met. So you have to find things that are predictably not going to let you down. And you have to allow the Jets to be something that you enjoy, but not to the extent where it's filling your fulfillment, your needs of life, fulfill your emotional fulfillment. Does that make sense? Jets Best knows that I have my predictable one. The way I could fill my emotional needs, unfortunately, is food. But that led to me being very fat for a long time, for a while, and getting out of hand. And now I'm having to put a lot. Now I'm having to suffer because I am not allowed to eat anymore. Or I am eating, but I'm eating keto, so I'm not eating carbs. Um, I will admit that I'm a different person on Monday after a loss. Yeah, so it does. It's okay for it to affect us and be disappointed, but it's if you're to the point where you're not going out, you don't want to leave your house. It's impacting your work life, your social life, your marriage, anything like that, your relationship with your kids. Then that really is need for therapy. That really is a good, like that it really is a reason to talk to somebody. That's diagnosable. It is. Jess Mess, what's up? Snacks. I am snacks. Um, yeah, when you're mid-season, you're already thinking about the draft. That is depressing and exhausting. I mean, and there is a certain amount of you're allowed to be depressed about your team, right? You're allowed to be bummed, right? I'm not that, but if it's having a negative impact on other facets of your life, that is a real thing. And it's no joke. It's no joke. Um, yeah, so I'll try to get licensed in New York and New Jersey as soon as possible. I think that getting licensed in Arizona will be very, very easy. There's a reciprocal type thing with California and Arizona. So Yeti, I'll be there for you, man. Skulls, the truth of knowledge says, how long have you been bald? Well, I started to lose my hair in my late 20s, like it was receding. I would say around 30-ish, I noticed a little thing. So what I started doing is I was down to a number 2 buzz anyway. So when it started to recede, I just said, you know what? Let me see what happens. And I kind of buzzed it, a number 2, the whole thing, in my whole head. And I said, oh my God, it seems to work. It's not terrible. So one day I just completely shaved it. Yeah, I was actually an accident. I went too far. Zzz, and I said, oh shit. And then I did the whole head and I said, oh, it works. So I kept it. So if that answers your question, if you were asking seriously, if you're asking to be mean, by the way, if you were asking to be mean, if that was to throw an insult at me, that means you're probably very young and immature. And I would say, grow up. But if you're asking seriously, which you seem to be doing, then take my answer as a serious answer. My hair started receding a little bit in my early 20s. Oh, so you're asking for real? You're not a kid that's making fun of me. My hair started receding a little bit in my early 20s, and everybody said I was going to go bald. It looks exactly the same. I'm in my mid 40s. Well, that's nice. That's a nice thing that it just stayed the same. One of the things that you want to do is, I mean, look, not everybody's lucky. And I'm not saying I'm great looking or anything, but at least my wife and my girlfriend at the time, when I first did it, thought it was okay. Like the feedback from people was good. When I just completely buzzed it. When I went to number two and I kind of just buzzed it, and then when I took it off, nobody said anything negative. Everybody just said you look fine. It works for your face. I was worried about my nose, and how it would work, but it seems to have worked. It seems to be better when I have some facial hair. When I don't have this at all, then I look like more like an egg. You see the cheeks. When I have the facial hair, it kind of works. I gotta hold this up. I lost a lot of weight, so it's no longer so much. Before I lost all the weight, man, it was really bad. So, but when I hold the phone like this the wrong way, it looks worse. It's better when I go up like this, doesn't it? I look more narrow. Hey, I'm narrow. Look at my head. Look at this. Look at the beard shaking like this. Isn't that funny? Kind of looks funny that way. Okay. I don't think we've ever heard of a sports fan psychologist, but it's something that would be a whole lot of people dealing with a bad team. I think so. I mean, look, there have been teams that there are people who get into fights into the stadium, right? Like anytime you see people get into a brawl, when there are fights, when people get into fights in a stadium, those people need therapy. And I am not even saying it in a nasty way. I'm saying it in a very real way. Those people need therapy. If you assault another human being, you need therapy. The sports could just be a trigger. It probably likely that there are other things that make you violent as well, not just sports. So I'm not saying you need therapy specifically because sports made you violent. I'm saying you need therapy because other than protecting your spouse or a loved one or a friend or self-defense, you need therapy for any other reason if you're becoming violent with another human being, because there's just simply no justification to become violent with someone unless you're defending yourself or someone you love. And that's just real. Anything beyond that, you need therapy. There's something wrong. You have anger management issues, impulse issues, right? And usually the person you're assaulting is not the person you're really that angry at either. Kind of like Will Smith hitting Chris Rock. Believe me, Chris Rock was not the reason for his anger. Chris Rock is a comedian who made a joke. Will Smith was holding on to a tremendous amount of anger and saw a non-threatening target. Let me go up and hit the guy that's half my size, right? Because he can't do anything back to me. See? So it's funny when Will Smith's son, his idiotic son, said, "I'm proud of my father." You're proud of your father for being a coward? For hitting someone half his size? For not being able to control his anger? Who cried afterwards in regret because he knew and he was ashamed of himself? No. So anyway, yeah, I do think that there are plenty of sports fans who probably would benefit from a therapist, for sure. Jess Mess says, how much weight did you lose? I lost, I got to guess where I am now because part of my diet is not weighing myself, and I just went to North Carolina. I was really bad. I take weeks. When I go back east, I take breaks. I'm going to guess, I'm going to guess that I'm around 65 pounds lighter. But at one point, I was 70 pounds. And I'm back locked in. And it might take like another week and a week from now, or 10 days. By the end of the month, I'll be back to my low. So I'll be 70 pounds lost. And then my plan is to lose 7 pounds a month in the summer, lose 14, 15 pounds in the summer, and get down to 85 pounds lost. That's my goal. By September 1st to say I lost 85 pounds. And then go to the Jets opener and have everybody say, "Holy cow, I don't recognize you." So that's my goal. Thanks for streaming, brother. Catch you next time. Oh, good to see you, Yeti. I'm glad I was able to entertain you a little bit. The military taught me low impulse control. I think the military is very helpful for a lot of people, right? I mean, obviously not if you suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, like if you see someone die in front of you. Um, you know, a lot of veterans have PTSD, even the ones that don't think they do. A lot of people say, well, not everyone's affected. Well, most are. It's just the level of how impacted you are. Some you're able to, it's not enough to take function. You're able to still live your life, right? So people say, oh, he's not PTSD. Why is, why is he okay? Well, he's not really okay, maybe completely. He's just, it's like alcohol, right? Some people could drink and be functional, and some people can't, right? But almost everybody that's been in war, that's seen death, is going to have some form of PTSD, and you really got to wonder if they don't, what's wrong with them? Like, why don't you have any like how are you not traumatized by that, right? Like that, I'd be more worried. I'd be concerned if you weren't when you see death. But I think that the military, I think military school for kids, right? Kids who have very strong issues controlling their impulses, and kids that have what's that? I'm a therapist, and I'm forgetting the name of a very common diagnosis. Compliance to authority. You know what I mean? You know, compliance, or what the hell? Um, when you're the person who can't listen to authority or can't deal with authority. Those kind of kids do really well in military school because they just there needs to be a strong sense of consequence, right? Like in the military, if you're not non-compliant, you're going to have some issues in the military. They're not going to stand for it. And some people really benefit from that, and some people just the structure of the military. And some people, because of the friends and the comrades, the camaraderie of the people around you, gives you a lot of connection that you didn't have. So there's a lot of reasons why the military could be very helpful for people, and it helps give you a lot of discipline and a lot of empowerment in your life. I think Gunny is a great example. Like, right? That's of someone I know. Gunny and his wife, like they do it all. I mean, like he's got his channel, he's got a really good job after the military. He's got 5 kids that he's doing an amazing job raising. I mean, like if I asked him before you went into the Marines, do you think you would have been able to do all that? I don't know that he'd say yes. I think he'd credit what he learned in the military. Um, my nickname was Goofy because I laughed through all 4 doors, just what I do when I'm nervous. Yeah, laughter is and uncontrolled nervous laughter is yeah, that's a real thing. My family, when we're like the worst of times in our lives, when we were losing my father, when he was sick, all those times in the hospital, like we never stopped making jokes. And it's not like not even on purpose. Like it would just come out, and it would be that was just the way I think all my brothers and I cope is with humor. When things are at its worst, we make jokes. We use humor to cope. So I hear you. I totally get that. And I'm glad you had that though. I'm glad that whatever you did, it didn't. As long as you got through those tours that way. So that's good to hear that you were able to get through those tours. Because sometimes the things we turn to, like, is much worse than that, right? At least when you're laughing through it. It's a way of your body coping and keeping yourself in control of yourself. So if you have to, aim and fire and fight and defend yourself, that you can function, right? Where some people, I'm sure you've seen it, some soldiers probably might go into a complete flight mode where they're unable to fight, right? Where they go into a mode where they're unable to function as a soldier, and it can get someone killed or themselves killed. And it's not their fault. Like it's really not that fault. It's unpredictable of what could happen to you in that kind of situation. Whether it's like you're walking in the and all of a sudden there's a bear in front of you, like you don't know how you're gonna react to a situation until you're in that situation, because if you've never been to if you've never been in fight or flight mode, total life is in grave danger in the moment. If you've never been there, you don't know how your body's going to react to it because you don't have full functionality of your brain. The more escalated you are, the less functionality you have, the more you go into instincts and emotion, an emotional response. So your emotional response of laughing or of giggling is probably, I would guess better than most people, Um, but I can also, yeah, piss people off too because people don't understand it. They didn't understand what was happening. They didn't know that you were having an emotional response, that it wasn't something you were completely in control of. I don't know, man. That would be better. I would rather have someone next to me laughing than freaking out. Like nothing would be worse in my mind than the person who's freaking out. Like remember in the movies, if you're watching the movie Speed, the guy that's on the bus in Speed, oh my god, we're gonna die, oh my god, oh my god, and everyone has to calm him down. Like that's the worst. Like I can't imagine how bad it would be to have somebody in your troop, or in your band, um, or in your what do you call it when you're in a smaller group, uh, freaking out. Like if you were like in battle and someone started freaking out, that's got to be worse than someone laughing. Someone laughing, I might say, why are you laughing? It might be weird, but like, it'd be much better than somebody who's freaking out. Someone who's saying, we're going to die, we're going to die, we're going to die. That would increase my anxiety so much. Like if somebody was doing that, like it would, my anxiety, I would just be so anxious if somebody was doing that. And then someone else might like it, might help somebody because somebody else might be the person who goes over and helps that person. And that person, it might help keep them calm. To see someone incredibly anxious and freaking out and having a breakdown, it puts them in the mode of taking care of them and takes their mind off of their fear. So you don't really know, it's so unpredictable how things are going to impact people. Um, it's so interesting to hear the stories of, like when I watch Band of Brothers and to see the enactment of that and how different soldiers reacted was just so interesting. Um, and I think one of the things we work with when we do work with veterans is to make sure that they don't have shame because a lot of veterans feel ashamed because they didn't react the way they wanted to when they were in the heart of battle, right? So something happened, they witnessed death, and they have this shame of how they responded. I could have done more. There's survivor's guilt, but there's also just I should have done more. I didn't do what I could. I jumped into a foxhole I shouldn't have. My friend died and I didn't. You know, it's a big part of it. Um, so you're saying, am I a therapist? I am. I am. I'm a therapist. I kind of acted like a therapist for a long time because I was an educator and I worked with kids with special needs and I was an assistant principal of culture. So I supported and did a lot of that. But then I eventually made it official and I left that. And I am now legally and officially in every way, I am a psychotherapist. I'm not fully licensed yet. Like, in other words, I can't open my own practice. I can't open my own office. I have to work for somebody. And you have to do that until you get 3,000 hours or whatever the state requirement for your state is. So I have to work 3,000 hours, which will take about a year and a half. So it's not that bad. I have to work for someone for the first year and a half. They just want to make sure that what that is to make sure that you, as a new therapist, you're talking to somebody, right? You have somebody with more experience, just to like guide you and to make sure that, because you could have clients that are suicidal. So, it's good to have somebody to talk to. And then I have to pass some test, and then I'll be completely a full-on, fully licensed therapist that can open my own practice. Right now I have to work for somebody. I'm looking forward to the day where I don't have to work for anybody. I could choose to work for someone, but it's not the same thing because they're so happy you're working for them because because they make money because you work for them, right? That they don't treat you like they treat you really nice because they don't want you to leave because they know that you don't have to work for them. They know that you could just work for yourself. So yes, I'm a therapist. I've been practicing for, I'd say, a year and 4 months. So I've been practicing for about 16 months. And now I'm building up a lot of clients. And I have worked with a couple of veterans. That's why I could talk to it really well. And I also specialize in not anything with classes, but you choose what you specialize in. Like, what do you like? So what do you get trained in? I specialize and train in trauma therapy. So, which is going to make me somebody who probably works with a lot of people who suffer from PTSD, which is by nature going to mean I'm going to work with a lot of war veterans, people who have served in the military. Um, but not only that, women who have been battered, abused, sexually assaulted, trauma. Unfortunately, there's lots of different ways that people have suffered trauma, and way more people have suffered trauma than you think. Unfortunately, uh, it is a lot more common than we think, and a lot of people aren't even aware of how much their trauma is impacting their lives, and that their lives could be improved dramatically if they address that trauma, and they just don't know. So, like, mindfulness is a big part of what we do, because some people are just not aware of how their anxiety or how their trauma is impacting their life. They just think this is life. This is how things are supposed to be. And it's like, no, no, no. It's not. Life could be a lot better. A lot of that anxiousness, that anxiety that you feel, you don't necessarily have to feel that all the time. And there are ways to address that. So that's my spiel on therapy and counseling. Unfortunately, if you don't live in California and you're interested, I can't help you, but I can only recommend and say that it's very easy if you have insurance specifically to find a therapist. There's a company called Rula, R-U-L-A, they contract therapists, so they're very easy to work with. Life Stance is a very big company that's in most states. So they're a pretty big one. But I think anybody who if you have insurance, there's no reason to not get therapy, man. Like even if you don't think you suffer that much from anything, just to have someone to talk to, it's I'm telling you, man. Very few people will actually get therapy. Sometimes you don't find the right therapist right away, but most people who get therapy, man, will tell you there's just very, very little downside. We have somebody from Indonesia. Hello, I love the food from Indonesia. Let me tell you what I like if you speak English. There's this pepper. It's like pepper mash. This peppery thing that you put on food, meat. I have an Indonesian friend, or she would make me this pepper stuff that she would put on everything. And it's wonderful. So if you ever eat Indonesian food, I don't know what it's called. It's like some pepper, chopped pepper sauce or something. So delicious. Love it. Very healthy too. Thanks for talking with me. In a bad place dealing with it all on my own. You have a good one. Take care, man. Anytime. I didn't realize that you were having a tough time with it. So, talk to someone, dude. Like, please talk to somebody. Like, it will help. Process it. Don't run away from it. Exposure therapy. That's what we call it. Like, deal with it. The things that are bothering you. Face the things that are bothering you. That's like everything else. The more you face it, the less it will impact you. The more you'll be able to cope with it. So, and the only way to do that is to talk to somebody about it. So, if you lived in California, I'd be happy to work with you. I can't. I'm gonna try to say your name. Iqbal Fajar Siddiq. Did I say it right at all? Iqbal Fajar Siddiq. I think I'm saying the last name well. Siddiq. I think I got that part. Iqbal. Is it Ig or Ig? Or Ig? I'm saying Iqbal. Siddiq. So, Iqbal. Iqbal Fajar. Iqbal Fajar Siddiq. I would love to if you gave me some feedback. Am I saying your name right? I take a lot of pride in being able to work out the pronunciation of someone's name. Hey, Jets Worldwide. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you initially. I see you now. What's up, Bubala? Have you ever tried fried rice before? I don't know if I've tried Indonesian fried rice. I mean, I've, of course, had Chinese fried rice. I've had Thai fried rice. I don't know if I've had Indonesian fried rice. I've had Hawaiian fried rice. Hawaiian fried rice, instead of peas and carrots, they put in Portuguese sausage and bacon, like it's pork meat, cut up and mixed in the fried rice with the egg, and it is like one of the most spectacular things I've ever eaten in my life. And I only have had it in Hawaii, in a couple of places. Usually, it's like breakfast food. They serve it with brunch. Um, and when I'm in New York, I'm going in September. I could look it up that way. I could when I'm in New York because I'm from New York. I know in New York City. They have every kind of restaurant in the world. So if I type in Indonesian restaurant in New York City, I know 100% for a fact that something will pop up. But I'll tell you what. I live in Sacramento. I'm not far from the Bay Area. The Bay Area has all the diversity in the world. If I will look it up, because if you're saying it's better, I love fried rice. If you're telling me it's better than others, I will try it. I'm gonna try the fried rice. Guys, I gotta go. I gotta wrap up. It was nice to go live again, and great show. Skulls of Truth. You give me. Thanks for being here, man. And I'm gonna. You gave me an idea. You've inspired me. I think I'm gonna combine therapy and with this channel somehow. I think it's a unique idea. I think I'm gonna do a therapy hour, not just for fans, but anything. Just to try to give somebody as much as support as I can. Sounds like a cool thing to do. Later, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.